We've seen this before, right? This is 1910. I just built this thing like maybe 2 months ago, right? And the guy says, I don't know. I was using it, and then it quit. And I went, oh, what? That's what I was told. So we're going to figure it out. Shit happens. Chinese transistors is all I'm going to say. We'll figure it out. I miss Toshiba's. I really miss the consistent, solid reputation of Toshiba's. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to power it up, and we're just going to let it sit here and idle. We can obviously see that the output combiner resistor is completely fried. He says his SWR is pretty sweet. He says I got a 1.3 to 1.5 SWR. Okay, that shouldn't have caused this. I tested the crap out of this thing before I left here. Let's go ahead and we'll turn the power on. We'll see if anything's going to get hot on us here. Oh wow, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. There's no coax hooked up to the back of this thing. It hasn't been keyed up. Transistor all by itself is getting to 140 degrees. Let's turn the power off. Down it goes. Look at this. Look at the power runoff, or the heat runoff over here. Oh. This thing is oscillating because it had a transistor fail. Okay. Weird. So, it means very carefully we've got to go in here and pull all 4 transistors out and figure what has gotten damaged in this thing's oscillate. I said oscillate. It's a joke between us and, well, between me and like 4 or 5 other builders, because there's one guy out there, he doesn't say oscillate, he says oscillate. He even spells it that way on Facebook. So, sorry. We got to figure out what's been damaged in the oscillation cycle here and figure out why. I've had transistors like this arc through before. So the transistor decides it's going to go bad, and when one of the little tiny angel hairs worth of legs that are on the inside, they'll either blow apart or they'll short from the 12 volt side of the transistor, which is this cut tab, and they'll short down to this leg here, or they'll short to this leg here, and it causes it causes exactly what we've had happen here. So needless to say, we've got to pull all 4 because I want to test all 4. And it's horrible. Have to see how it runs once we get some new pills in it. Okay, let's pull the middle out of here. We're going to pull these resistors out, and let's get these transistors out and let's take a look at them. Okay, so I pulled the oversized 5-watt resistors and the oversized 104 disc capacitors out of here, and we got a little bit more information. Oh, yep, it's blurry now. Come on. As we can all clearly see, centered of field of view here, or maybe if I get out my flashlight, we can all clearly see that we have some very, wow, that LED light is not syncing up well with the shutter and the camera. Good Lord. Oh, same flashlight here. Hold on, I'll find one here that'll work for us. Give me a second. Check another pocket here. Look at that. Woo! Oh, fricasseed. Okay. So, either I've had a capacitor go away, which I highly doubt since we're using this giant trombone, or we've got another problem that I think I might need to talk with the customer about. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him how he's achieving his SWR measurements. But we, as an industry, we as a whole, have seen the HG 16D08s fail like this. All the HG components we've seen fail like this at one point or another. When they go bad, they just short out and they get really hot and they try to burn a hole through the heat sink. So it's just a very high resistance load. So we'll get in here, we'll pull all the transistors out now for sure. I know this is what I got to do. All the transistors got to come out. We're going to check the gain on that one, and we'll see if we can get this to work again. Okay, blown pills. No one's ever seen this before. Nope, never. Okay. So we pulled the 4 transistors out. And let's take a quick look at them. So this would have been the closest to the camera, and this is the farthest away. So otherwise, this transistor, the one that's out here, and this one is the transistor that was closest to the camera. So this has a gain of 24. Let's jump over to the other transistor, the one that it's partnered with. And it's going to be either good or dead. I'm thinking dead. I think this thing, yeah, dead. I don't know if we got a bad jumper to blame. I don't know. This one's blown completely in half. All right, so there's no shorts on this one at all. It's just fried. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll check this one out. This one's got a gain of 19. The question is, so those 2 transistors just fried. 19. So there's 2 good ones out of this pile. These 2. 2 outside edge. Now the 2 inside ones, now we already knew they were blown because of, well, the 10 ohm smoke that came out, right? So we have to ask ourselves, what presents this? Either be some sort of massive out of tune, which would show up in severe output degradation, right? So if it was out of tune and it was allowed to oscillate in some way, shape, or form, we would see that in horrible output potential. Or 2, there's something wrong on the other end of the customer's end, like a bad jumper, maybe an antenna that's going bad when you hit it with 100 or 1,000 watts that hasn't not been hit with 1,000 watts for 20 years. It's something. It's something. I don't know what it is yet. I might get to the bottom of it when I talk to the customer tomorrow because it's already like midnight out here. So we're going to take these 2 so they don't get intermixed with these guys. Whoa, 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 whoa. Microphone popped off. I apologize, guys. We're going to set them aside. Now what I did for expediency and time is I just went ahead and I replaced all 4 transistors. So in here's a brand new match set of 2879 16 D08s. Put everything back just the way it was. Replace the output combiner resistor. Remember, our little friend that died the happy death. Put brand new 2 10 ohm resistors in there. Cleaned the pill pockets out and screwed everything down. Now we haven't changed the tune on this or anything. So we've got a 1,000 watt slug and peak. Let's turn our white gain up a little bit here. 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 and average 5 watt slug back in reverse from the Bird 10,000 watt dummy load. So, hello 1, 2. We're going to use the base or the bench 2950. Hello 1, 2. About 25, 28 watts, give or take. Turn the amp on. Hello 1, 2. So we know it's not a massive out of tune issue. Hello 1, 2, 1, 2. We're seeing 11, almost 1,200 watts out of this thing. If this had a bad tune issue, this trombone would go bad. So I have to very quietly and patiently say back to the customer, it's nothing on this side of the street. And you never really know. And this is why I always teach the new guys that are coming up to please be kind and to be patient. I built a 2x4, a lot like this one, for a guy many, many, many years ago. Many, many, many years ago. So I built the amplifier and I sent it off in the mail. The guy got it on the other end. He hooked it up and he proceeded to call and tell me that the thing didn't do shit, that the amp was garbage, and he wanted his money back. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm saying this is a past story. Reason you always got to be nice. And I said, whoa, 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 pump your brakes, hot stuff. I'll pay for it, send it back. I wouldn't do that today. Because of this story, this lesson I'm teaching you guys. So I paid to have the thing shipped back. Now this is back when I was first starting out, and if you guys haven't figured it out, in new amplifier build, there's about maybe a 5 to 10% profit margin. Okay, so let's say I charged the guy, and I used Toshiba's at the time. Let's say I charged him maybe, what, $1,200, $1,300 for that box 10 years ago. So then he was cool enough to go ahead and put it in the mail and send it back. So I get it back on this side of the street, and I literally shot a video of me taking it out of the box, putting it on the workbench, hooking it up, keying it down, and the amplifier works just fine. So now I've paid for the trip home. So I boxed the amp back up, sent it back to him, said, man, this thing has been thoroughly tested. Got a YouTube video of when it was done, got a YouTube video of when it was finished and sent to you. Now I got another YouTube video of when it was sent back here and me going through it, and there's nothing wrong with this amp. Please, please, please check your station on your side of the street. And he goes, nope, it cannot be my station, BBI. It cannot. And so how do you know? He goes, I have an amp that sits on one side of my radio. So it's got a radio, amplifier sits next to it. It's been sitting there for 25 years. My watt meter shows that I've got a perfect SWR. I've got this, I got that, and I hook it up and it runs just fine. All right, so I send the thing back. He gets it. Now he's really upset because now he gets it on his side of the street. He pulls it out of the box again. Now the box is starting to look a little haggard, right? Hooks it back up. Calls me up once again. Man, this piece of shit ain't working. I want my da-da-da-da-da-da money back. And I'm like, cool. Okay. Send me back the amp. So I get the amp back. Now this is the second time it's come back in the same box, right? So it comes back this time around. I take it out of the box, shoot a video once again, hook it up, and there's nothing wrong with this amp. So I sent in the YouTube video. I'm like, can you please check your coax jumpers on your side of the street and make sure everything is okay? And I immediately get the exact same response from the guy. There's nothing wrong with my station. It's been running the same way for 20 years. La 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 la. And I said, dude, I'm not giving you back your money. There's nothing wrong with this amp. There's something wrong in your station. Please take a look at your jumper. And I said, what is the jumper that comes from your radio to the amplifier? How big is it? How long is it? He goes, it's 3 foot. And I said, fine. So I reach up here and I grab an RG400 3-foot jumper. And now I go and I get a new box, repay for all the packaging. So I paid for the insurance and the shipment of this thing now 4 times. There, he covered. Back, I paid for. Back again, and now returning it again. I throw the jumper in the box with the new box and all the new padding material because I was like, man, I am not, this box that the amplifier was like sponge, right? I'm not going to eat this amplifier. I just wasn't going to do it. And the whole time I'm trying to be really nice about it and really chill and say, please, let's slow down. Let's look. No, everything's fine. It's been the same way for 40 years. Da 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 da. So he gets the amplifier on his side of the street. Now I'm talking to him on the phone. He's been cussing me out every single time I've ever talked to the guy, right? He goes, man. He goes, I'm going to hook this thing up one more goddamn time. If it don't fuck work, I'm taking it out on your... I'm like, okay, fine. In my head, I've already kind of got an idea what's going on, but his logic, I couldn't F with it, right? I could not fucking mess with it. But in my head, I had a pretty good feeling of what was going on. And he hooks it up, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to listen to you do this entire thing. Keys up. Goddamn, still doesn't do shit. What the fuck? So he gets back on the phone. I said, dude, do me a favor. Shut the amp off and see if you can even talk through the amplifier. And the answer come back, This mother effing amplifier doesn't do effing shit, and I want my money back, god damn it, son of a gun. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. What's that? I said, do you see the jumper that was in the box? Yeah, this is really nice. What'd you send that for? Can you do me a favor and use my coax jumper from your radio to my amplifier and tell me what happens? Ain't gonna make no goddamn difference. Ugliness, right? So I quietly, I'm just sit there and I wait and I wait and I wait. So it's a 3-foot jumper, just like this here. And I hear on the phone. And I wait, and then I hear him in the background. And then this is what I hear. Oh, whoa, what the hell? 1111111. Whoa, hello, odd. He gets back on the phone, he goes, man, that box works. And it's doing like 1,200 watts. What the hell? Click. His old jumper that he had going from his radio and his amplifier, we'll say this is, let's say the Atlas is his old radio, and this is his new radio. Or his radio, his old amplifier, new amplifier. So he had his jumper plugged into the radio, into the amp. And when it sat just like that, everything was good. But when he disconnected the coax from the back of his old amp and went over to the new amp, it was torquing the coax jumper and it was shorting the coax jumper out. So he would disconnect the coax from the new amp and put it on the old amp and everything worked just fine. Now, I don't know what that lesson caused him other than his ability to cuss at me on the phone. But I'm here to tell you that was a $750 lesson. Sometimes you just got to be patient, right? And I try to counsel these guys that start out and they're new to the game to just be patient. And sometimes that goes both ways. So in our environment that we have here on the workbench, I'm attempting to replicate and take out all the variables that can possibly put in play when it comes to something I created on this workbench, and then trying to create the environment on the other side of the street when you guys get it and you try to use it. Right? This is kind of a general flat environment. SWR tune, coax links, all that kind of stuff is fixed. It never changes. These radios up here on my workbench never change. My watt meters, the elements that are in them, they never change unless I state so in the video. They're always constantly the same because it's a standard, right? I mean, at this bench we've created how many thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of equipment together on the computer right here together? Really? But sometimes I have to change my workbench to emulate the guy on the other end. Now, when we weren't on camera, I hooked this thing up and I hooked it up and went on air because the one variable is actually tying it to a real antenna. Everybody that's anybody that's anyone that knows anything about anything when it comes to radio, we all know that the dummy load is perfect and an antenna is a not perfect environment, right? So I went ahead and I ran this thing this evening. Spent a little bit of time talking on it. Didn't have any problems with it. I simply grabbed another piece of coax that's been in every YouTube video and you guys have never seen it. Plugged it into this connector and went and tried it. So as far as my testing abilities are limited to on this workbench, which I feel are fairly well standardized and universally recognized, most people have copied the 3 or 4 bird meter setup. They've all definitely got this going on. Okay, none of that existed until myself, well actually Tech 9 came along, then I came along after him. The point and the moral of the story is my customer here, I'm doing everything I can on my side of the street to make sure everything is perfect, right? And I stand behind the product. But in the same breath, I expect them to be open and flexible enough to understand that I'm trying to help. And I do that over and over and over and over and over again. That's the job. If you don't like living in that kind of environment, or dealing with people on that level don't do what we're doing here. Just saying. Now, as far as I can tell, the thing's working just fine. I don't know if we've got a bad jumper. I don't know if we got a problem in the watt meter. I don't know if we got a bad connector. I've even looked in the end of the coax connectors and they don't look burnt. So I'm pretty sure, I feel fairly certain that his coax jumpers don't have a bad connection at the amp. But anywhere else, I don't know. In the same breath, I haven't had the opportunity to talk with him on the phone yet to discover, is he testing his SWR with the amplifier? Is he testing it without the amplifier? Because that in itself can present problems. Like, for instance, you can sit and talk on your antenna with your radio all day long, but then when you turn on your box, your reflect goes sky high. Why do you think that is? Your radio puts out 25, 30 watts, and then you dump a couple thousand watts in the antenna, and then when you get up to that higher voltages with a couple thousand watts, that's when you start to have the short. That's when your gamma match burns up. Just saying. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to twiddly fart with this just a little bit. We're going to slightly modify his tune, and then I'm going to leave this sit. I'm not going to touch this until I have a chance to talk with him more on the phone tomorrow. But for all intents and purposes, this brand new build amplifier is done again. It's got 4 new transistors in it, 1 burned up resistor, and 2 10 ohm resistors. Everything else tests out fine. Power supplies, driver section, pass-through tune, input tune, output tune. Remember guys, we're all in this hobby together. Please come find me on X, BBI Amps, or Box Builder Idaho. So it's at boxbuilder.idaho. Screen name is Mr. BBI. Come find me on X and subscribe. I'm going to start putting stuff out there as well. The #1 top rated place in the universe to follow along with my content is right here with these guys on Patreon. I just want a blue check mark next to my name. I only follow 2 people on Twitter, X anyhow. It's Elon and Sir Mix-a-Lot. So on that note, gentlemen, I say thank you for the support and following along. I appreciate all the thumbs up and the likes, comments. Please, if you guys see something I'm ever doing here on camera and you don't think I have a full grasp on it, either call me on the phone, because the phone number's in every single video, and talk to me about it, or leave a comment down in the doobly-doo. Believe me when I tell you, I'm a big enough man with thick enough skin to be able to listen to somebody else's opinion, and then we'll talk about it. Because that is how knowledge is passed from one person to the next, is communication. Either we text, some kind of digital information, or we talk about it like adults. So on that note, I'm going to go. I say thank you, Siglent. Thank you, XS. Thank you, Bird. Thank you, MechMan. Thank you, Coaxial Dynamics. Thank you, Penna. Thank every single one of you guys that are still tuning in to watch these videos. I mean, honestly, how, in the love of God, can you do 100 or 200 or 300 Texas Star 667 repair videos and still make them entertaining? I don't know, but I try. I appreciate the support, and I know some of this stuff is redundant, and I thank you guys for sticking in there with me. I appreciate it. On that note, I'll see you guys. From the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Click, click. Okay. So, we pulled the 4 transistors out. Radio. Amplifier. Radio. Amplifier. Turn the drive up a little bit. All right, it's a 400 watt dead key. I'll see ya.